Bud Light Hog Talk rolls on here at District Bar and Grill. Welcome back. Our next guest in the hot seat is IceHogs goaltender Henrik Karlsson. Nice round of applause for Hank. Thanks for coming out tonight. Appreciate you sitting in the hot seat here. And it's been a little whirlwind for you here over the last month and a half or so. You know, of course, you get the lockout that ends because you were one of the unfortunate that was locked out of work.
Yep.
You go into camp in Calgary. You get traded. So all of a sudden, a little shift in the career there to path, I should say. You end up with the Blackhawks, and you've been up and down between here and Chicago. So it's do you realize where you're at right now? You're kind of all over the place here over the last month or so.
Yeah, it's been a little bit special season, but I'm happy to be here now and play some games, and it's been great so far.
You know, the one thing that stood out when I was looking at your bio when you got traded to the organization was, you know, how few games you've actually played in over the last 2 years as a goalie and as a competitor. Number one, you reached your goal, which you were in the NHL, which is awesome. But at the same time, you know, how much do you want to be in? I mean, I know you want to play, but does that take a toll on you, especially as a goalie? How much do you want to be in the game?
Yeah, I want to play for sure.
Yeah, every single night, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It's been. I think my first year in Calgary was decent. I had like 17 games or something, and then just 9 or 10 last year. That's not enough. And then I was locked out, so I really needed to play games. So I was really glad that I got traded, and Chicago picked me up, and then get a chance to play down here.
Yeah, I mean, it's especially as a goaltender, because I mean, every goalie I met wants to be in every single game, and you know, you look at a 3 game in 3 nights like we do in the American Hockey League. It's tough to play that much, but when you're in that situation as a goalie and you get to that 3rd game, you still want to be in the net, even if you played the 2 nights before, right?
Yeah, you want to play, and it's a good. We have a good goalie here too, so it's, both probably get a chance to play this weekend, but we'll see what happens.
Now let me ask you: you switch organizations, and the relationship between the goalie and the goalie partner is probably a lot more unique than maybe any other position on the team. How not difficult, but how what's the transition like when you move to a different team, whether you're moving from Abbotsford to Calgary or Rockford to Chicago, when you're working with your goalie partner in Chicago or in Rockford or wherever it might be? Talk about that relationship a little bit and the dynamic that's behind that.
I think it's important to just keep it friendly outside ice. It's make it a lot more fun, if you can be friends and help each other. So Hut's a really good guy, so we come along really good, and then of course both want to play, but that's you get used to that. So often it's not a problem, but it's way better when you're good friends too.
What's going on with Sweden and goalies right now? I mean, it seems like there's Swedish goalies all over the place. Your first 2 games in Rockford were both against Swedish goalies. And all 3 of you have been in the NHL this year. Obviously, Milwaukee's got Hellberg's a Swedish goalie as well, right? So, I mean, you guys are kind of all over the place. I mean, what's in the water over in Sweden? What's been the big push here with the Swedish goalies?
I think Sweden has worked a lot on their goaltending, and we have a lot of good goalie coaches. It's been there now for a couple of years, and that had helped a lot of goalies develop. And also last couple of years, a lot of big goalies coming through in Sweden, and I think that's the future. To be honest, need to be pretty big to play goalie, but I think it's definitely the work that Swedish the Ice Hockey Federation, what do you say?
Yeah, sure.
Put in,
like the national. Yeah,
they put in a lot of work in goaltending and in goalie coaches, so that pays off. Yeah.
Now you mentioned being bigger. You're 6'6". You're a big guy. You're 6'7". Someone told me the other day that
no,
6'6". Don't want to be 6'7". Is that
6'6". When I'm out, I'm 6'5".
6'6" in the morning, 6'5" at night, right? Because you kind of shrink as the day goes on. Now, everyone always, jokes, bigger you are, the more net you block. I don't think people realize how big the actual goal is. You still got to move, and you got to be pretty athletic. And you're a guy that can definitely move. Kind of talk about your style as a goalie a little bit.
No, try to play a modern style of a goaltending. You know, try to be square as much as possible, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Almost no, but just to try to what am I gonna say? No, just be be square, and try to get hit in the chest as much as possible.
Yeah, and that's one thing I noticed with you. You get square to the puck a lot. I'm far from a goalie, expert, but just from watching goalies, I could just kind of pick up. Okay, when watching you do a great job. A lot of pucks hit you in the shoulders and in the chest. How hard is it to maybe control rebounds, or what's the objective when you're square to the puck like that? Knock down pucks, get them to the corner, redirect them.
I don't know. It's a bigger guy who can play a little bit deeper in the net. I think that's a good thing for a big guy. It's you have a little bit shorter way to the rebounds, but it's not easy because of your size. You still have to move and make saves. Yeah.
Which is something that, again, the speed of the game, you guys make it look way too easy. You don't understand. I think as myself as a fan, it's hard for me to comprehend how fast things are happening down on the ice. It's something as simple as a quick shot or a transition from left to right, and you got to read that, right? As a goaltender, it's not, I guess I can't comprehend how you can read it as easy as a goaltender, but stuff happens super quick on the ice surface.
Yeah, guys are getting better too. They're strong, they're fast, they're shooting really good. So it's tough sometimes, but you also have to have a really good help from your D-men, and we have really good Ds here, so that make it easier for me and Huts. Now
you were in Calgary the last couple of years. How good is Jarome Iginla?
He's really good. Yeah.
Is he's tough to face him? I know
really
he's in the latter stages of his career, but still, I mean, that guy's a guy I've always enjoyed watching over the last several years. And, just the fact that you probably have faced 1,000 Jarome Iginla shots, probably even more over the last couple of years in practice. I mean, just to see now in Chicago, of course, there's a great cast of guys there. And same thing in here in Rockford, but to be there with a guy like, a future Hall of Famer like that had to have been pretty fun as a goaltender and to kind of, learn from a guy like that too, right?
Yeah, that's something I always have with me. I don't know how my career will turn out, but it's something nobody never can take away from me that I played with Jarome Iginla. He's an all-star player and a super guy too. So it's been really great to play with him.
It's Bud Light Hog Talk here. We're hanging out with Henrik Karlsson, goaltender for your Rockford IceHogs, and you're from Stockholm, Sweden. Flash forward to the present. You're a goaltender that has spent considerable time in the NHL. Do you pinch yourself and think, man, look at what I'm doing right now? I mean, or is it just kind of you take it as it comes here, and maybe in 20 years when everything's all said and done, you look back and say, man, that's a fun ride. But do you kind of, as a kid, I'm sure dreamed playing in the NHL, but right now, do you ever take a step back and just think, man, look at what I'm doing, look where I've been?
Yeah, I dreamed of it a lot when I was younger, but when you're in it, you're just try to do to get better every day, and you don't think about so much about where you're playing or in which league you're playing. But that's where everybody want to be. So, but it's tough. It's a lot of hard work behind it.
And how hard was it during the first half of the season when there was no hockey to be played, to stay motivated, to stay in shape? I mean, the motivation standpoint, I think, is overlooked a lot because you had no idea when all of a sudden the phone was going to ring and it was going to be, yeah, Henrik, you got to come to camp tomorrow or 3 days from now because this is wrapping up. I mean, it was probably hard to keep focused, right, over the lockout?
I was in Calgary during almost the whole lockout. We had a really good setup there. But it was mentally tough, Some days you were thinking, oh, maybe it's going to play soon, or some days it sounded like we're never going to play. So a little bit tough mentally, but as I said, we had a really good setup with practices in Calgary and a lot of players. So we tried to make it as good as possible.
Got some Twitter questions for you. You ready to knock out some Twitter questions here?
Yes.
All right. Savannah Giddings at Gids29 asks, coming from Calgary, what was the biggest change for you other than new teammates?
I I don't know. For me, it was I think the biggest thing was just to get to play again. You know, I hadn't played for so long. I played the 2 last games with Calgary in April, so just to get back playing games was the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, I mean that was almost not a year. It's probably 9 months in between games. I mean it's a long time to go in between games, huh?
Yeah, that's for sure. But it took a couple of games maybe to get settled in and feel better now.
Now, Nick Schneider at N Schneider 74 asked, how much has Stefan Waite's advice/teaching helped you when you've been going kind of up and down? Have you had an opportunity to work with Steph Waite up in Chicago, though?
Yeah, no, he's a really good goalie coach, and we have a really good goalie coach here in Rockford too. So it's, the organization is really put in a lot of work in to make it as good as possible for the goalies.
Now, for me, that's been one of the biggest changes since we've been in the American Hockey League. This is Rockford's 6th year in the AHL. The first year we had a head coach and an assistant coach, and that was it. Now we have 2 assistant coaches, the head coach, obviously, a video coach, a goalie coach, a strength and conditioning coach. The dynamic has changed a whole lot. If you had a goalie coach, I guess how long have you had a goalie coach for that has been there to work with you? Has it been like that since you were playing in juniors in Sweden?
When I was younger in Sweden, we didn't have that a goalie coach. But last couple of years in Sweden, I had it, and every year in North America. So yeah, that's make a big difference. It's nice to get some special work in every second day or something like that. And
I guess the big thing for me is the fact that you look at coaches, and there's not a lot of goalies that are head coaches. So it's probably hard for a coach that doesn't really know the trials and tribulations of what goalies go through on a day-by-day basis to give advice on, okay, maybe do this if you haven't been through it before, right? So having that goalie coach, someone that's been there before and played the position, it's probably a lot easier on you to get that advice, and and if something's not going right, to have someone point something out to you, right?
Yeah, I mean the other coaches don't understand nothing about goaltending, so no, I'm kidding. But yeah, it's I think like all the teams have a goalie coach now. You just have to have that, and as you said, not only on the ice, just mentally to have somebody to talk to who understands what happened in the games in our head, and so yeah, that's great.
How do you deal with the pressure of being a goalie? I mean, goalie, there's only a couple positions in all of professional sports that really have to deal with, almost getting too much credit for a loss and definitely getting way too much blame, or too much credit for a win and getting way too much blame for a loss. How do you deal with that on a day-by-day basis? I look at maybe the quarterback in football, and that's probably about it. The 2 positions in pro sports that really are under the microscope like that. I mean, it's got to be a big challenge.
Yeah, I think the big key is not to think so much about it. Try to play your game, and don't think so much about the pressures that comes with it. Mm-hmm. I think I try to relax outside hockey and not think so much about it. But yeah, it is pressure, and sometimes like last game when I let my teammates down, gave up a really easy goal. Their third goal is never fun. You always want to help the team winning, and it's pretty tough mentally, yeah.
It is, and I look at that, and you know what? Yeah, okay, so you look at that goal, and it wasn't a great goal allowed, but there's also 59 minutes and 50 seconds in the hockey game that something else could have been made. It's just like saying, okay, you lose a 1-goal game and somebody turned a puck over in front of the net. You look at that play, and people are going to criticize that. You could break it down like that cost the game, but there's so much more that goes into the game than just that one play. Yeah. And that's no different than that third goal. And I know you're not going to agree because you want that goal back. Goalies want every goal back, right? But there's still so much more that goes into the games. So that bugs me a little bit as an observer, saying you can't just blame that one play. Okay, yeah, was it the difference in the game? It was, but look at all the other things in the game that didn't go right, that could have gone wrong, or that could have been different. That just happened to be a play that the puck ended up in the back of the net.
The key, though, is to, as a goalie, the score was 2-0. It's
yeah, no, I understand.
Game, you can't do that. But yeah, I understand your point. Mm-hmm. But yeah,
that's the game, though, right? And that's what you gotta block out.
That's why some guys are better than other guys.
Sure.
They're more consistent, and that's what I want to be too. So that sucks.
All right, Liam Morris is at LN Morris 72. Where do you like playing, USA or Swedish rinks, and what's it like going back and forth between the AHL and NHL? So I guess the first one, now in Sweden, do they use the Olympic size, international size rinks?
Yes.
So talk about the difference playing on the NHL standard rinks compared to the international standard rinks.
I like the smaller rinks. I think it just make it the game more fun, more intensive, and tougher for goalies for sure. More traffic and a lot of pucks coming quicker to the net and everything. So I like it.
And what about the bouncing back and forth? That's something else you got to stay mentally tough with. I mean, not just goalies, any player, because you can't control that. You just got to go up and give your best effort, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to be here now. A chance to get to playing again. But obviously, as everybody else in this team, we want to play in the NHL. But for now, it's good for me to get going again, and we'll see what happens next year. But I don't think so much of that at all. Actually, to be honest, when I'm here, I try to do my best here, and when I'm there, do the best of it. So.
Well, we're very happy to have you here, Henrik, and you've had a great start here. I know that the win-loss record, it's 3-3, which you want to improve. It will. Don't worry about that. I got confidence in that. But thanks for coming on the show tonight. I had a great time.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
All right. Nice round of applause for Henrik Karlsson, goaltender for your Rockford IceHogs. We got one final timeout. When we return, Jimmy Hayes will be our final guest. It's Bud Light Hog Talk right here at District Bar and Grill on 23-2 Antenna TV.